Hello everybody, that's Sound back here after a 2-week hiatus due to the international break and the dour football that's been played in that time. But Manchester United back in action this weekend against Newcastle United, and a well-welcomed return to winning ways, which after what can only be described as a pretty disappointing October and half of November for us, really, isn't it? So what a sight to see Manchester United back to winning ways and see the three guys back. Zlatan back on the bench, fantastic. Rojo back on the bench, and most importantly, Mr. Paul Pogba. And on his return, we score 4 goals. Don't think that's any coincidence, is it? So so crucial to see him back in the side here. And oh Jesus! So just looking how rough I look this morning. I always do these videos on a Sunday morning after a game, and usually after a few beers, so yeah, never looking good. Apologies for that. But anyway, Paul Pogba back in the team, fantastic news, and what a difference he makes. Yesterday just kind of hit home what we have missed in having him in the team, and I didn't think it was his greatest game for Manchester United by any accounts. I think he's played much better, but he just has that key that unlocks the door, doesn't he? He just has that certain something that just offers something completely different that we don't have in that team. Worries me a little bit, because players aren't infallible. They're going to get injured. They're going to need rested. And so we're going to need people to come in and be able to perform without him. But it just shows what a crucial player he is for Manchester United, which we all knew at United anyway, didn't we? As United fans, it's probably the mass media, I think, that seem to underestimate how good a player he actually is. Yesterday was a weird game because that first half, I thought we looked defensively quite frail. Watching Mourinho's press conference after he did say that obviously he started with Lukaku, Martial, and Rashford up front, which is what all of us have wanted to see, really, for quite a long time, and get a run in that team. I think he's probably been waiting, one, for Pogba to come back, but also to have that other option off the bench in Zlatan, because at the moment, he's played either Rashford or Martial because they bring something completely different when they come on, or something similar but fresh legs. And now he has another option off the bench before he didn't. So maybe that's what we've been waiting for. But what Jose said was that because of having those three there, you lose something defensively, and we certainly seemed a lot more frail. Obviously, we've not always been fantastic in defence in every game, but we seem to, we've got a pretty good record, and even when we've lost, we haven't offered as many chances as we did even in that first half against Newcastle. Could have been 2-0 before we'd even got really started yesterday. So obviously we've got to work out the balance when we play with those guys in there. And for me, he's staking a claim for left back, but Ashley Young still, I think, left back, I don't know. I think he obviously can do a job there, which is great. But the same as when people talk about Blind, and I think Blind is, gives a lot more balance to the team. He's not, people don't feel comfortable with him in there. So I still think, that there's a little bit of scope for change there. Lindelof, to be fair to him, it was a slip. It wasn't his fault. It's just really unfortunate because obviously his confidence has had a knock anyway with the way this season has gone. I just hope that doesn't sort of push him back, because we saw in the week actually against Italy for Sweden, he was pretty colossal. So he's got that, he's got that in him. He's not. I don't think he is the best defensive player, but as we saw at points in that first half, he does bring you that option of quality on the ball, bringing the ball out of defence, which we've not really had, have we? We've not really seen, for the last few years, and which is what I think that's always what Louis van Gaal wanted. He wanted centre backs that could do that, but hasn't really had them. And Lindelof is probably more of a ball player. I didn't think he had a bad game actually generally yesterday. It's just the slip obviously that let him down. But defensively, we looked a lot more frail. We just looked like we were giving a lot more. We were giving them a lot more opportunities and a lot more space in the final third, and that's obviously because due to the counter attack. They were very well organised as well as a team, which you would expect from a Rafa Benitez side. But eventually we broke it down, and it was a Pogba moment that did that. Again, he has that ability to. He wasn't in the middle of the park, but he has that ability to dribble, which I think is something a lot of our midfielders don't have. and he crafted that opportunity for Martial to get his head on and get that first goal. And once Smalling had popped us into the lead, which I didn't expect before, the second half, I thought we were pretty good for it then. Similarly, I thought if we'd have scored the first goal, Newcastle would have found it difficult to get into the game. And I thought once we got the second one, that was it. I thought we're you're never completely confident with United these days, are you? But I thought, we can see us going on to score a couple more, which we did, which is fantastic. You get Pogba in the team, you get 4 goals. That's what he gives you. So hopefully he carries on, can avoid any more injuries. Great to see him getting back on the score sheet, of course, which was fantastic. Goal and assist for him. And also seeing Lukaku score, because obviously looks a bit short on confidence, doesn't he? He just hasn't had the service, let's be honest, over the last few weeks. It's been pretty dire for him. He hasn't looked the best, but at the same time, you can't score goals if you're not getting the service. So good to see him back on the score sheet. Great to see Mata back in the team. I really think as much as there's other players that have deserved the spot, having Mata in there it makes such a difference for me. Every time I see him play for us, I see us play better. With Mkhitaryan in the team or not. I think those two combine really well to start with, and I would have liked to have seen them back again, but Jose's obviously chosen to leave Mickey out of the squad completely, which it probably is good for him to have a break, I would say. If Mata can do the job in there, I'd keep him in, and if when he chooses to bring Mickey back, make sure you've got Mata in there, because I think he just offers you something different that we don't have, the off the ball movement. He opens up space for players as well. And he's a really underrated player in my book. I really hope we keep hold of him. I think he's going to be going forward. He's a crucial player. He's great, and he as well as a character, always out signing fans after the game and doing little bits like that. So hopefully we keep him. And then to see Zlatan back, of course, absolutely immense. And he scored that overhead kick. Oh man, Old Trafford would have erupted, but it did for him to come back anyway. I mean, the man, even if he doesn't play as much football as he did last season, which hopefully he won't because he played too much last year, as a character, as an influence in the dressing room, on the pitch, I think he's going to be immense. And it will be interesting to see how Jose uses him, because I think he's going to be more than just a sub, a reserve striker. I think he's going to play a lot more games, obviously, as a direct striker when Lukaku's rested. But interesting talking about him being, Zlatan sees himself. He is a number 10. That is his role. And Jose essentially confirming that those two can play together. What we saw yesterday was Lukaku move out to the wing, which isn't really his spot, is it? Maybe it was just because it was for the end of the game. They wanted to see Zlatan get on the score sheet, maybe. But I wouldn't say that's like the kind of scenario or the solution I would like to see those two playing up front. But look, it's happy days as far as I'm concerned. We're back after an international break. Complete difference to obviously what happened the last time we broke for the international. So hopefully we have the opposite effect to what's happened. I think we've got Basel on Tuesday or Wednesday, which really is a bit annoying because we could have. Well, just annoying that we didn't manage to qualify within 4 games and we've not qualified yet. So there's still an element of competitiveness there where we can't rest guys. I'd love to see Luke Shaw get a run out. I really think it's, I think he needs to start staking a claim for that left-sided place. Ashley Young's done well, as long as he's going to be the number 1 choice for now anyway, while he's still playing well. I'd love to see a few players. Maybe Rojo might get a run out. Maybe Zlatan might even get a run out. You never know up front for us. But after that, we've got a run of 3 Premier League games, and it's just important now that we just keep plying on with it, because we've got Brighton, Watford and Arsenal. I think Watford's away, but the other 2 games are at home. And that's before the City game. Quite honestly, we got to get 9 points. That's the standard that's been set at the moment. As much as this City team has been overhyped, because it's Guardiola over the last season or so, or it's definitely not the best Premier League team we've ever seen. Let's be honest. Let's come back when you've won X amount of titles and done the doubles and all that kind of stuff, and then you can start discussing that kind of crap. But Guardiola will probably be gone in a couple of years anyway, won't he? But they've set the standard. Let's be honest. They're playing great football. They've set the standard, and they're not losing games. So we're 8 points behind as it is. We can't afford to drop any more points, because as much as games and titles aren't won in October or November, certainly if we find ourselves 9, 12 points behind them when it comes to the end of the year, then it's going to be a struggle to get that back. At that point, so we just got to push on, get 3 points in the next 3 games, and then when City come to United